What is up, my dashing dudes? I am the Hans TV, and if you're easily offended, I suggest you skip over today's video, at least half of it, because we're doing r/AskReddit. Our first comment thread comes from No Talent as Clown. Doctors and nurses of Reddit who have delivered babies to mothers who clearly cheated on their husbands. What was it like? The first comment from the post comes from Golden Gay Boy. Paramedic here. Our crew delivered a full berth in the back of our rig. We have 2 paramedics in the back with the PT, a driver, and I'm working on the laptop listening to info they're telling me to add to the report. All of a sudden, it goes kind of quiet. I hear the mother let out a very loud, "Oh it's not white!" She was very white. A few more seconds of silence and I'm like, huh? The driver alarm, beeping light on the center console sent from a button in the back, was pressed 2 times quickly, generally meaning to turn around to get info for the report. I turned from the front passenger seat to see a very dark skin colored baby, I'm guessing Cuban. I can't see the mother's face, but all I see is her shaking her head. She begins to worry, saying that her husband is meeting us there at the hospital, he can't see this. I just continue the report and I am not sure what the problem is, but I guess we'll see when we get there. Flash forward to the ER. We stop outside the ambulance bay. I get out to open the doors and am met by another very white heavyset guy in a uniform shirt, dress pants, and glasses. Asked me if his wife was in there and she was in labor when he was coming home. Hospital policy dictates that we can't have random people that we can't confirm the identity that close to the rig when opening doors for PT safety. Security is there quick, holds him back a bit. We open the doors, roll the PT and her newborn out. He takes one look, sees the color of the baby. Jaw drop, look of despair, like a 1,000-yard stare. Even security had a look like, wow, that woman up and this guy knows it now. Wife, babe, I can't explain every bit of this. I know it looks weird, but I can. We wheel her into the ER, no sign of husband. Last I knew, the husband didn't check into the hospital as a visitor. I'm assuming he went home to pack his stuff. That's a mega oof right there, my dudes. Like, damn. The next commenter is called Chase Surf. We had a very sweet, blonde-haired, blue-eyed mom and a dad along with their entire extended family in the room for a delivery one busy afternoon at work. Think aunts, uncles, cousins, grandma and grandpa too. The baby is born and as the doctor places her on the mom's chest, the first words out of her mouth are, "That's not my baby! That's not my baby!" The baby in question, still attached at the umbilical cord, has beautiful, dark, curly black hair and dark skin. The nurse looks at her and tells her that this is definitely her baby because she's still attached to you. And she, not so quietly, tells the nurse, "There's no way! I never slept with a black man! It's not mine!" The father is standing there silent, not sure what to do. A long, awkward silence fills the room. We clean her and baby up as cheerfully as we can. We see the extended family filter out of the room and the father leave to get a cigarette. About 10 minutes later, a tall black guy walks up to our front desk, asking how to get to the patient in question's room. "That's not my baby." "Ma'am, it's still attached to you via umbilical cord. It's definitely yours." "No, I never slept with a black guy." Black guy walks in the room. The next comment comes from 321ZZZ, anesthesiologist here. C-sections are typically done under spinal anesthesia, and we're the ones at the head of the table, keeping the mother calm and talking her through the procedure while the surgeons operate. I've seen it more than once, but I remember one in particular when the parents were both very Caucasian and the baby was very much not. The actual father obviously had to be very dark-skinned. At delivery, when the not father saw the baby, he just looked down at his wife, who was starting to cry, and calmly said, "You f***ing whore," and walked out. She started screaming for him to come back, but there wasn't much she could do since she was, still being operated on. She lost it to the point I eventually had to sedate her just a bit because she was in danger of injuring herself. As far as I know, her husband never came back to the hospital. I don't know what happened after that. I think I do. He packed his shit and got the f*** out of there. Our final comment from this specific subreddit comes from Tomorrow's Forecast. My brother had a surprise baby this way. He and a coworker had a one-night stand while she was broken up with her ex. She gets back with her ex, ends up pregnant. Flash forward to the delivery day. The day my brother sends me a picture of a random baby out of the blue and says, I think I am a dad. She is white, her boyfriend is black, my brother is white. Baby came out looking very, very white. I don't know how it went down in the hospital room, but I know they separated very soon after. My brother went to visit her in the hospital and asked her if she would let him take a paternity test. She agreed and it came back positive a week later. And that's how I got my surprise nephew. Edit to answer questions and clarify some things. Everyone is fine. My brother took full responsibility from day one. They ended up dating, having another child together, and are now separated with full split custody, no courts involved. I know how genetics work. I have a mixed sister and mixed children. My kids are Mexican/Puerto Rican and 11 kinds of a European. They came out very brown and are now pasty white like me. One has brown eyes and one has green eyes. I do understand everyone's experience may vary. When I say very, very white, I mean it. He was practically translucent. The baby looked just like my brother's baby photos, and nothing at all like the boyfriend. We just kind of knew, but still a test was the only way to know for sure. Everyone in our family was surprised, of course, but we all embraced the situation with love and understanding. With that being the last comment on the doctor subreddit, this is just a warning. This is where the triggering might happen. It's about Columbine. So, our next subreddit is Columbine happened 20 years ago today. Redditors that were in high school at the time, what was the ensuing week like? The first comment comes from Foy. Every one of the tiny little perks students had were immediately taken away. No headphones on school property. You used to be able to listen to music on headphones in the parking lot, not in the building. Gone. No more baseball caps. Gone. No more eating lunch outside when the weather was like. Gone. No staying after school if you weren't with a club or activity. People used to just hang out in the halls after school and wait. Sometimes they'd be getting a ride from someone, or they'd be working on a joint class project. Couldn't do that in school anymore without direct teacher supervision. Some of these are things I understand. I get not letting kids wander around in a parking lot with headphones where there are lots of inexperienced drivers. I just don't know what that had to do with Columbine. There was a massive crackdown on things students could and couldn't do, and very little had anything to do with someone shooting up a school. I guess they just didn't want any kind of activity that could be seen as suspicious or anything like that, and like staying after school, they could have seen you looking around the halls to see how you could get out best or get in best. So I can see it, but it was a bit extreme. The next comment from this thread comes from Scapity. I was a senior and taking a bunch of shop classes to just tread water as I was done. I wore mostly black and was into metal, but was just waiting to go to the army basically and was never a problem with anyone. I had one class, Digital Electronics 3, where we had to make circuit boards and program it to make randomized bird noises. They gave us generic black cases and these little red buttons from Radio Shack. Anyhow, day before Columbine, my friends and I decided to make them look like bomb switches. So instead of drilling holes for the speaker to this contraption, we drilled push for explosion or whatever. Our teacher was fun, knew we were harmless, and laughed. So, Columbine happens, and me and my nerd friends are sitting at the lunch table putting these things together before class because assignment was due, and this is we did all year. Enter cops and administration. We were told to put the devices down and back away from the table. People came out and inspected everything. Lunchroom cleared. Our parents were contacted, and nobody listened to anything we said. We were assigned this given this by the school. All confiscated. Things got weird after that, and my mother actually got me a pack of white shirts. I switched my black ones out for them and didn't bring my electronics out of the classroom. Didn't have any more problems. It shouldn't have been a problem in the first place. The administration should know that you were in that class and that they were, giving you this. Our final comment for the day comes from Ascoine Descoine. It was rumored some dumbass student threatened to bring a gun to school while in homeroom the next morning. Otherwise, life continued. Campus wasn't locked down, fears weren't heightened in the kids. We were half the country away from Columbine. There had been a school shooting or two that had made nationwide news at that point, but it wasn't an epidemic. During spring semester of the year before, kids were pulling fire alarms or calling in vague threats seemingly every other day. No one was scared. It was just an attempt to get us out of class for a few hours. I watched a student casually walk over and pull the fire alarm one morning. There weren't cameras then, and I don't know if she was ever caught or if administration really cared. The punishment for that type of thing was 10 days out of school suspension. All it meant was you automatically flunked semester on attendance rules, and you could come back to school without any issues. During that time in 1999, we were reading Hamlet. Within a week or two of Columbine, we went over the park where Ophelia has Columbine flowers. The internets are giving it symbolism as unfaithfulness in a relationship. I'm pretty sure the notes in our version referred to it more bluntly as something like flower of sorrow. That stayed with me more than anything else about Hamlet. Well, alright my dashing dudes, that's gonna do it for today's episode on r/AskReddit. I hope you liked what I did here. If you did, go ahead and drop a sub, leave a like, and leave a comment down below with what you'd like me to read next. To everyone who has subscribed in the past few weeks, thank you so much. It gives me so much honor to be able to put these out for you and have you love them. But with that being said, I will see you in the next video.